This video is sponsored by Tarot Stack. Hey there, cozy babe, and welcome back to the coziest corner of the internet. My name is Chloe Taylor, and today we are doing a pick a card featuring Tarot Stack, which we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But today's pick a card, I'm not sure what I'm going to title the video, but when I was sitting before planning the video, I thought about what is going to bring you back to yourself, back to being your best self, back to feeling yourself, getting your spark back, feeling really in tune with life again. So whether you already feel that way right now, this is just going to amplify that for you. Or if you're feeling like you just haven't had your magic, your spark, feeling good and happy and you reach out and touch life and life touches you back, this is going to be the reading where we're going to get to the bottom of that and see what you actually need right now to get back to yourself. So we are going to get into it starting from pile number 1. So pile number 1, as my placeholders today, I'm using cans of poppy. If you listen to my podcast, you already know how much of a poppy stan I am. So we're just, I don't know, I thought it was a cute color combo and a cute way to make us do a little bit of selecting. So pile number 1 is Dr. Poppy, which is their, I guess Dr. Pepper. Pile number 2 is a cherry limeade. Pile number 3 is grape, and pile number 4 is orange cream. So you can go based off of the soda flavors, you can go based off the colors, whatever you were feeling from the thumbnail, or you can watch all of them and then decide at the end. Also, I just want to say, somebody in my comments recently was like, don't listen to people that watch all of the piles and then choose. They don't know how to listen to tarot or have self-discernment. That is not true. Some people just need the entire picture before they can decide, and that is okay. There is no right or wrong way to do this, and don't let anybody harsh your mellow or try to tell you what is the correct way to do this. There is no correct way. It is whatever you feel is good for you. And some of y'all also tell me that you just like to listen to the entire video because my voice is soothing to you. So that's also fine. Use this however feels good for you. I make these for you. It's a gift for you. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into it starting from pile number 1. All right, if you chose the Dr. Poppy, this is going to be your reading. And before we get into it, I do need to just give a brief shout out to our besties, Tarot Stack. Tarot Stack has been a long-term supporter of this channel, and I'm so grateful to go into a new year working with them. So Tarot Stack, if you don't know, they are an online tarot retailer where you can get indie decks from basically decks that are made from independent artists that you will not be able to get anywhere else. And some of the decks even have authentication. There's so few decks that were printed that you'll get a certificate of authenticity with some of them. All the decks that you see in today's reading are from there. I will link them down below for you in the order that they appear. And honestly, I love Tarot Stack. Before I ever started working with them, I was purchasing my own decks from them. So they are somebody that I just really respect. I love that we get to continuously work together. And I noticed that all of their decks, they all are on really good cardstock. None of them are falling apart. I have had decks for years now that get used on a daily basis. None of them are falling apart. They all have really great imagery, really strong card construction. And again, they're just decks that you're not going to get or see anywhere else. So links for all of that down below. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. I'm so grateful to go into a new year with you. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to first get some focal points as to what you need to focus on, and then we'll kind of break it down a little bit. Oh, girl, these cards did not want to shuffle for you. Do you see that? Usually when that happens, I feel that's a sign to not shuffle the deck as much, but we'll give it one more. All right, let's see. 7. Okay. First house. Ugh, why did I know it was coming? And the moon. All right, so what you need to focus more on, and then like I said, we'll use another deck and get more into it, but right out the gate, number 7 in numerology, or at least I want to go more the astrology route with this because that's what Spirit is showing me. 7 is it's Libra's number. So seven's Libra's number because Libra is the seventh sign of the zodiac. And seven is all about like marriage, contracts, partnerships, you and another person. It doesn't have to be another person. It can be like a business contract. It can be a car title, a home loan, like anything that contractually binds to you. So I do feel like part of what is keeping you from feeling like yourself is there might be some kind of contract that you're in. Obviously, that's going to be very specific for some of you, but there's a contract that you're in that it's not that this can't work, it's that you have lost yourself. Because when I see seven and then the first house, these are houses that would oppose each other. Okay, these are numbers that would oppose each other only because in astrology the first and seventh house sit completely opposite the astrological wheel. So this would refer to Aries's house and Libra's house, which are opposite signs. So what this says to me is why you're not feeling like yourself is you have poured so much into other people, into other projects, and you kind of lost yourself. You've lost your own sense of self and your own like emotional well-being, because the moon is your emotions. It's also the things that we do in secret. So there's a couple things that are coming up for me with the moon. One of them is obviously, I am not a professional, like when it comes to psychology, so please do not use my readings in place of that. You would be doing it wrong if you are. But if this sounds like you, maybe look into it farther, okay? It's not a diagnosis, but there is something called revenge procrastinate sleeping. If you're unfamiliar, basically what this is where we stay up really, really, really late at night and we are procrastinating on sleep because at night is the only time you get to yourself. And you see this a lot in like overworked moms, I feel like. We see this a lot in like women specifically, that all day they're giving to their kids, their careers, their spouses. And then when everybody has gone to bed, it's like, oh, okay, now it's my time. And it cuts into your sleep and that depletes every other area of your physical self. So revenge procrastinate sleeping might be something that you're struggling with. And also something else that's coming up with the moon is it's like the things that we do in secret, okay? Because when we look at the moon, we can't talk about it without talking about the sun. The sun, if we had broad daylight casting over your life, you would be able to see everything being done, right? If we were like out in nature, you'd be able to see everything. The moon, when it's full, you can kind of see a lot, depending on where you live and what the light pollution's like. You can see a lot under a full moon, but during a new moon, it's pretty dark, right? You're not going to be able to see much. You're not going to be able to do a whole lot by nighttime. And so I feel like this pertains to like the things we do in secret, the things that people can't see. And I feel like you have maybe closed a lot of that off. You maybe don't show it to your partner, coworkers, friends, other connections. You're not letting more of yourself come out. Something else I'm hearing from spirit is that you need to be reminded that sometimes when you lose your sense of self, which can happen, when you lose your sense of self, something you need to know is it's never really lost. You can always gain it back. And just let Big Sister Kloee from the internet tell you what this can look like, because I've been there, okay? I've been there. I have lost my complete sense of self before. I have gone through it mentally, and one of the first ways that I started to get myself back was, which again, I never really lost it. I just, my focus wasn't upon it. And so it felt like it was lost, was I started keeping a notepad in my phone on just like the notes app. I started keeping a note in my phone every time I noticed something that reminded me of myself. So like, for example, these are silly things, but it's okay. Like that's what it's supposed to be. All the little things, all your little eccentricities that make you who you are. I would put things in there like, I love sushi. Okay, sushi is my favorite food, hands down. Sushi, all-time favorite. I'm always down. If somebody wants to get sushi, I am always down. I would put things on there like, I love, I guess like house, I don't even know what you would call that. Like, I love to like drive around neighborhoods and look at houses. Like, it's something that I've always loved doing, no matter if it's like the holiday season and it's Christmas lights, or just to like look at other people's houses, look at architecture. I love looking at how different people do homes. and something I could do all day, every day. I think it's so fun. Even if it's just like driving around a neighborhood, I think it's really fun to do that. It's a big part of like I don't want to say it's a big part of my personality, but like it's a pastime that I really enjoy that maybe somebody else wouldn't get enjoyment out of. You know, I really love making spaces cozy. I really love coloring. You know, these are just like little things that I would notice in my day-to-day life of, oh, this is something that I feel like is a piece of me. And I want to put focus on that. I want to notice that about myself. And that's how you start to let yourself back in. So just wanted to point that out in case you feel like you're struggling with that. But let's go ahead and keep going with the tarot and see what else is coming up for you. Okay, we have the Two of Coins. The Queen of Swords. The Six of Cups. The Two of Wands. And the Two of Cups. Okay. So I do think there's a lot of twos. You got a lot of two energy. Literally three of them. There's only four in the deck and you got three of them. So what I'm getting with this is there definitely is involvement with another person or another situation or again, something contractually binding that keeps coming up. And I say that because the Two of Pentacles is more about like balance and creating more balance in your life. The Two of Wands is more about like advancing on creative ideas that you might have or starting to put some intention behind them. The Two of Cups literally is you and another emotional connection, another person, like your romantic partner, like I said, or a friend, something along those lines. The Six of Cups is also a connection from the past. So I do get the sense that there is either a person you need to set some boundaries with, because the Queen of Swords, big boundary energy, or this could be just about letting them know more of who you are. Like, stop, oh, bestie, this is giving people pleasing. This is giving you don't put yourself first in any capacity in your life. And here's the thing. Even if, let's say you have children, okay? Even if you have children, of course you want to give a lot to your children. That's normal as a parent to want to do that. But your children will eventually become their own people. They will become their own individuated adult. And I promise you that eventually they're going to look back and they are going to make a judgment call. And either they're going to be like, wow, my mom or my dad was the most inspirational person. I love what they've done with their life. I know that I can do this too because I watched my parent do it. And if you are constantly self-sacrificing, now obviously, like I said, with children, especially when they're really little, there's a lot of self-sacrificing that has to go into that. I'm not saying don't do that. However, eventually you have to be willing to start putting yourself first in some capacity. It doesn't mean you avoid your child. It doesn't mean you don't give them things. It doesn't mean you don't give them your time. Always make room for that. But you have to come to a place eventually where you also give that boundary to your child too and say, hey, you know, this is really mommy's time right now. And like, you have dad help, you have grandma and grandpa help, and like even during the day, if your child is able to have playtime safely on their own or supervised playtime, you don't have to get on the full floor and play with them every single time. It's actually beneficial if it's just supervised playtime, but you're doing your own thing. It doesn't make you a bad parent to not always be down there playing with them all the time. Like, it's okay. And I honestly, I've read this in so many different books. I'm such like an avid psychology reader that like what this actually does is, again, I'm not saying neglect your kids. I think there's a fine line between having a boundary and that moving into neglect. I think there's a very, very, very fine line. And I'm not talking about neglect. Trust me, as a child of neglect on 2 accounts, both parents, I would never tell you to neglect your child because I know what that does in somebody's adult life. But what I can tell you is watching my own parents stay in cycles that hurt them even to this day, over and over and over, and not have boundaries and not communicate effectively and stay, in situations that they shouldn't. I'm a full-fledged adult now. I can look back on that and say, wow, I really wish that my parent had saved themselves. I wish that I could know who they are having done that. I wish that they hadn't self-sacrificed for me so hard. Whether they did or they didn't, that's what I'm getting at, is eventually your kid's going to turn around and they're going to see, and they're going to make a judgment call on that. And that's what, I don't know why. Maybe you're a mom. Maybe pile number one is for the moms, but it could be a dad too. But I just really get the sense that there is something about like not taking time for you, and that part of you is suffocating because you're not getting any time. You are allocating all of your time to outside things, and it's why your life feels chaotic, because you don't have anything for you. So I do think that it's time to have some better boundaries. Excuse me, I'm going to take a little sip of my water. I do think that it's time to have some boundaries with people in your life. If you don't have kids, this could be with a romantic partner or a connection from the past. So this could be like family, old friends. But ultimately, it's time for you to have that. It's time for you to have that division, because we are all multifaceted. You are not just someone's wife. You are not just someone's husband. You are not just a daughter, a sister, a friend. You are you, and you are with you at the end of every day, at the beginning of your life and at the end of your life. Okay? You are with you. And so it's important that you make time for that self-expression. It's important that you make that time for you. Now, whatever you want to do at that time is up to you. Maybe you're in a place right now where you don't even know what you like anymore. And don't let that discourage you. Let that be inspiring and go, oh my gosh, now I get to figure it out. Now I get to try a bunch of things so I can figure it out. It's an exciting time to be given a blank slate is a blessing, even if it doesn't feel like it in the beginning. But I will say, to get back to yourself, it appears to me that, just to run through these 5 cards, you do need to work on balancing things out in your life a little bit. So this would be really great to do like an audit, a self audit. And if you already know how to do this, feel free, like, do this on your own time. If you need some assistance with this, I'm going to give you a little shameless self promo because I think it applies to you. I do have my course that is like super discounted still. It's $55 if you use the code on my website. It's available there. You can get the link down below on KhloeTaylor.com. It's called Authentically Aligned. And I go over that in detail in that course, how to like do a life audit and how to actually stick with making new habits. So might be something that you want to check out, but I have that. And then also I feel that with the 6 of Cups, this is about like if an old relationship has surfaced, or if there's like people in your life that you tend to really people please or give everything to, it's time to set a boundary. That's what I'm getting with this 6 of Cups. It's like you always want to be seen a certain kind of way. And that's the thing about people pleasing, is at the end of the day, as much as you don't want to hear this, people pleasing is just manipulation. It's not a nice thing. You're not doing a nice thing. And I am not sorry for ripping that Band-Aid off, but it's not a nice thing that you're doing. Like, if you are someone that people pleases, it is manipulation. Because the only reason we people please is because we want to be seen a certain way. We can't handle the reality that somebody might see us as not giving, or a bad person, or emotionally unavailable, or any way that maybe in our past we have been hurt. We try to people please in ways that doesn't let anybody ever accuse us of doing the same thing. And it's manipulation. It's you trying to control how somebody else sees you. And I feel like a lot of us do it. Okay. I think the millennials are, like, honestly, Gen X too, to a degree. The millennials are the people pleasing generation though. I think a lot of us struggle with it because we had to do it to survive. And now we're all grown and we don't have to do it to survive anymore. We can just be ourselves. So, obviously there are going to be some nuances to that. Some of y'all live at home and maybe you do still have to do it for your survival. Please have some nuance to the situation. But that's what I'm saying, is like 6 of Cups tells me that there is like a past relationship that needs boundaries. And the Two of Cups, Two of Wands, I honestly think the more you give to yourself, you're also going to have better connections. You're going to be surprised how much more creative you feel and how much better your relationships feel if you heed the advice. And that is what I have for you, pile number one. So thank you so much to Tarot Stack for sponsoring us. And if you would like to support me, my work, my channel, any of that, please check out my Patreon where you can get extra tarot and astrology content every single month. I also just put out a new astrology video over there where I went over everybody's horoscopes for 2025 with the North and South Node. So if you want to check that out, I would love that for all of us involved. Patreon.com/KhloeTaylor. I also have my Blue Sky, my Instagram, my Threads. I'm at Kloee Taylor, spelled exactly like it is here. I only have one account, no backups. So if you see anybody saying there's a backup account, that's a lie. And is there anything else I'm forgetting here? I don't think so. I think that's everything. All my links are down below. Anyways, I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you again so soon. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. Bye. All right, pile number two, if you chose the Cherry Limeade Poppy, this is going to be your reading. Tarot Stack has been a long-term supporter of this channel, and I'm so grateful to go into a new year working with them. So Tarot Stack, if you don't know, they are an online tarot retailer where you can get indie decks from basically decks that are made from independent artists that you will not be able to get anywhere else. And some of the decks even have authentication. Like there's so few decks that were printed that you'll get like a certificate of authenticity with some of them. All the decks that you see in today's reading are from there. I will link them down below for you in the order that they appear. And honestly, I love Tarot Stack. Before I ever started working with them, I was purchasing my own decks from them. So like they are somebody that I just really respect. I love that we get to continuously work together. And I noticed that all of their decks, they all are like on really good cardstock. None of them are falling apart. Like I have had decks for years now that get used on a daily basis. None of them are falling apart. They all have really great imagery, really strong like card construction. And again, they're just decks that you're not going to get or see anywhere else. So links for all of that down below. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. I'm so grateful to go into a new year with you. All right, pile number two, let's get into it. So starting with this first deck here, we're just going to take a look-see. Okay, so we have 5. Okay. Kloee. Kloee? I'm not actually 100% how to pronounce that. And Uranus. Okay, I feel like I need to scoot these over a little bit. Okay, let me actually grab the guidebook for this Kloee, or I am sure that I am mispronouncing that. I know kind of what it is, but I get 2 of them mixed up. Okay. Yeah, this is all about the 4th house, which is funny because I was like bringing you home to yourself. So part of what you need is bringing yourself literally as much to like your childhood and your roots as much as possible. So this could also be doing like ancestor work, or now don't get me wrong, I know a lot of us have relationships with family that maybe aren't always the best. And so I'm not saying you need to like call your toxic family if you don't get along with them. What I am saying though is that anything that connects you back to your roots. So it could be connecting with yourself and your own, like any part of your childhood that felt good, connecting to a person, connecting to your hometown, the soil that you were born on, you know, things like that. Connecting to your ancestry. If you have like a rich cultural ancestry, getting reconnected or reacquainted with that is going to help you. The 5, the reason I kind of treaded lightly with that is 5s in astrology or even in tarot as well tend to be tend to be a little bit more chaotic. So I feel like this maybe was like, you know, chaotic past of a kind. But fives also, they're meant to grow us, right? They're meant to be something that actually helps us grow. I know it's not always like the way that we want to grow, to be honest. It's like, honestly, sometimes being a little bit forged in the fire to like get to our freedom. But also in numerology, five is considered the traveler's number, and it's about like change and freedom. Excuse me. So when I see this paired with roots, I feel like it's finding a balance between going after life and like going after your biggest dreams, your biggest accomplishments, your biggest goals, and then also coming back like home to yourself, to your roots. So it's finding that delicate balance between the two. And then Uranus being here, Uranus is our planet of like innovation. It's all about like innovation. And I would say to some degree, it could be considered like chaos. Like it's the planet of chaos for sure. It's also, it's also it can be kind of, it can be destructive, but not like, I'm not saying you're destructive at this present moment in time. That is definitely not what I'm saying. But like it can come through to kind of destroy or uproot things in your life that are no longer serving. So it's like a big change maker. And actually this year in 2025, we have Uranus changing signs for the first time in like 6 years. It's going to be moving into a new sign. It's currently in Taurus. It's been in Taurus for 6 years. I am so done with her as a Taurus sun. I am ready for her to move off of my sixth house of health and wellness, please. But which for those of you that are not astrology buffs, I might have just like spoken Martian to you. But all you need to know is that Uranus is our planet of change, sometimes by destruction. And so I do think that honestly, the message I'm getting from spirit is that there's this idea that you need to really break through. It could be like actual childhood thoughts, things that you've carried over into adulthood that actually do not serve you anymore. And you need to destroy those ideologies in order to move forward. But we have another deck that we're going to take a look at as well. Okay, I'm just going to give these one bridge shuffle and then we'll look. Okay, Temperance. Interesting. Death. Okay, these are big key players. These are not small potato cards. Eight of Swords. Ace of Cups. Never surprises me when I see that with this kind of reading, the Ace of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, bestie. What I am seeing here is number one, oh, I'm sorry if that is making noise. I'm using my lapel mic today because it's just easier for editing later. And this little string on my hood keeps touching the mic, and I hope that hasn't been making a bunch of noise. I apologize. Okay, but Temperance showing up, this ultimately tells me that this is going to take time. So this isn't something that tomorrow you're going to wake up and just suddenly feel completely better. This is going to take some time. If you're somebody, like I said in the beginning of this reading, that already feels like good, then just know that it's still a work in progress, but you're already there. And just like just know that your continued work is only going to benefit you. But the Death card showing up with Uranus like that, I do feel like there is some kind of belief, thought, something that you keep holding your life to that needs to be destroyed. So whether it's a belief, like maybe you think that you're not worthy of friendship, okay? But like, you know that you're a cool person and you like yourself, but you've had so many negative experiences early on that teach you that like you just say things like you want to be alone or you don't like people or fuck people. I have to tell you something. If that's you, pile number two, you're wrong. There is not one person, and I will die on this hill. There is not one person on the face of this planet that hates all people. And the reason I say that is because it's not that you hate all people, it's that you just haven't found the right ones yet. You haven't found the people that are your people yet. And it can be a really traumatizing experience. I'm not trying to deny that. I'm not trying to dampen how you feel in any capacity. Those experiences really set the tone for us early on sometimes. But this is a belief system that is keeping you stuck, and it's also repelling people from you. Because I think, honestly, I have a lot to say in the friendship category, but I can save that for my podcast. But in terms of feeling like you maybe don't feel like you're capable of making new friends, or you think that people don't like you, or you don't like all people, it's a belief that needs to go, because we as humans at our baseline are extremely social creatures. The first thing we do out of the womb is cry, because we require attention. We require to be attended to. And the first thing we do is socialize in the only way that we know how. So, like, we are social creatures. Do not let that little box that you carry around with you connected to the World Wide Web convince you otherwise. Do not let it convince you that you would be better off all by yourself and isolated, because I promise you it's not true. Take it from somebody who lived that life, I literally just uprooted my life from living in isolation. And the biggest lesson I learned from living in isolation is that I love people. And being away from people was actually so detrimental to my own mental health. It did not do good things for me. It made me suffer mentally. And like, I'm not saying it's not good to have time alone and have like that hermit time, because it really is. But doing that for long, extended periods of time, you're going to find that it's not very fun eventually. I feel like even if you're somebody that like is introverted or likes art, or thinks that you're going to spend all of this time like secluded and alone, and like that would be a good fit for you, I have a theory that introverts are, this is a hot take. This is a hot tub take, okay? I have a theory that introverts aren't real. Like, as somebody that I feel like I have periods of deep introvertedness and extrovertedness, I feel like neither actually exist. Extroverts are not real and introverts are not real. It's another label that people choose to define themselves by, instead of knowing deep down that with the right people, you will be an extrovert. With the right people, with the wrong people, you will be an introvert. With the right people, you will be able to speak up, and you'll want to speak up, and you'll want people to know you. Now, I'm not saying you don't need to like recharge your batteries alone sometimes. I'm not like, there are some things, I think everybody is both, is what I'm getting down to. I don't think either of them actually exist. I think everybody is both. And when we are too much in either one, it can tell us something about ourselves if we get curious enough to understand. So I don't know why I just went off on this huge tangent here, but I think that there really is something about like a limiting belief that it needs to die. This part of your self-concept is not helping you. It's been hindering you for a long time, and you need to find a gentle way of releasing it. Maybe not gentle. I feel like this death card is giving big hit it with a stick energy. It's giving beat it out of your life because we're done with her. And sometimes it's like that. Sometimes you got to yell at God and be like, you know what? I didn't effing deserve this, and I don't want it anymore. Take it. So sometimes it does have to be kind of aggressive. There's nothing wrong with anger. It's when anger becomes unbridled and directed at someone that it becomes unuseful. But actually being like angry about a situation that you have been dealt, that's a good sign. It's a good sign, because it means that you know where your boundaries were crossed. You know where you deserved better. And like, it's time to let go. Okay. Ace of Cups, this does not surprise me at all. I knew she was going to come out, not necessarily in your pile, but at one of these piles I knew was going to get it. The Ace of Cups is all about refilling your own cup, replenishing your own cup, and doing that by any means necessary. Doing whatever you need to do to feel good about yourself, to feel good in your own environment, in situations. And so I do feel like the Ace of Cups, it doesn't have to be a time of great introvertedness, if you will, it can be spent with other people. It just needs to be spent with the right people for you. So if you don't feel like you've cultivated that in your life yet, allow yourself the space to be with yourself. But again, with temperance, we need to still push ourselves out of our comfort zone. I promise this will ultimately be a good thing. The Eight of Swords. The reason why I keep bringing up like letting go of self-concept things that don't work for you is the Eight of Swords is about limiting beliefs, and it's feeling trapped by your limiting beliefs. And the thing is, I don't know if y'all know this. Maybe I'll do a podcast episode on self-concept if you really want it. Let me know in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but you can actually be anybody you want in this lifetime. Like, you can decide tomorrow that the beliefs that you hold about yourself are no longer true, and you can pick up new ones. Now, be careful with that, because I do think there is a capacity to really lose yourself when you're not staying grounded with yourself when you're doing that. But it's like, if there's a belief in a story that you constantly repeat to yourself, it's going to continuously be true. We make things true in how we repeat them in the place that they have in our life. Something only has power over you if you allow it to have power over you. It doesn't have to. You can decide what any part of your story means. You get to decide how any of it is told. You get to decide. So, that being said, the Eight of Swords is about like succumbing to limiting self-belief and having a self-concept that doesn't match the idealized version of yourself that you would prefer to be. So I do think that you definitely need to lay some foundational work for self-concept work. And there's a book that I'm currently reading that you might like, so I'm just going to mention it. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. Nothing psycho about it, promise. But the book is an older book, but it's all about how we can use self-concept to alter our life. And the stories that we tell are what make the biggest difference. Like, this is an example. I want to say, where did I hear this? Was it in that book? Just to give you an example of what I mean. Let's say, and trigger warning, I am going to talk about like, I guess like eating disorders sort of things, like body things. So if that's something that makes you uncomfortable, fast forward a few minutes. Not with myself, but just as an example story. Let's say that somebody really, really, really wants to lose a bunch of weight because they think it will make them happy. They think it will give them all of this advantage in life. And don't get me wrong, I think that there are some benefits to weight loss, right? It's easier on your joints. It might help with certain facets of your health, though I don't know that it's necessarily the weight. You do have to actually take care of your human vessel. That's a whole other topic. But let's say somebody is like morbidly obese and really wants to lose weight, okay? So they decide with help from their doctor, having already lost some weight, taking care of themselves, that they're going to do some kind of weight loss surgery because they have really low self-esteem about how their body looks is ultimately it. Even if they can't admit it to themselves, that's the reason, okay? So they do this, which there's nothing wrong with this. I'm not trying to shit on people that do this. Like, everybody's story is their own. But for the purpose of the example, just stick with me for a second. So let's say that they go through with the surgery. They end up losing all the weight that they wanted to lose. Their body looks how they'd hoped that it would, what have you. They get to that point, and then they realize that they're still just as miserable, that it didn't change anything. It didn't actually make them happier. And the reason why, and maybe they even still see themselves as an overweight person, the reason why is because their self-concept didn't change. And it also could be that, they didn't change other habits or other parts of their life that are actually making them miserable, but their self-concept didn't change. Surgery can change you physically, but it cannot change you internally. You have to do the inside work if there's something that you really struggle with. There is no short way to do that. There is no quick fix. That's why temperance is here. There is no quick fix to the inside world. You have to be the one that goes in there and does the work. And hate that it's true for all of us, bestie, but it is the truth. So when I see a card like that, it tells me that like right now you're succumbing to old beliefs about yourself that frankly just aren't true. They're not true. And I feel like I don't know that you're surrounded by anybody that's helping you with that. Like there isn't anybody in your life currently that like tells you, hey, that's not true. Don't say that about yourself, blah, 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 blah. You might have a lot of enablers around you. And I have to tell you, enablers are not your friends. Like you might think they are because you're like, oh, you match my freak. Your real friends are going to match your freak most of the time, but they're also going to be the person that says like, hey, maybe reconsider that. They're the person that's going to confront you with the truth. That's a real friend. Okay. The real friend is an honest friend. And I'm not saying they're there berating you, putting you down all the time. I said honesty, not rude. A real friend is going to be the one that tells you like, hey, that's not how it is. And I say friend loosely, it could be family, a sibling, what have you. But some of y'all just needed to hear that. The Eight of Pentacles coming out. This is the work. This is doing something consistently. This is consistency. And so to get back to yourself, you are going to have to work at this consistently. That should be your motto. If you agree with what I'm saying right now, listen to my last week's podcast. My word for the year is consistency this year, because I think consistency creates the best change in life. Like you can do anything if you repeat the process over and over and over again. And like with anything, with any goal that you want to accomplish, consistency is the way forward. If you stay consistent, imagine what it would be like to stay consistent for an entire year on something that you wanted to change. If it's your self-concept, make it that. Do self-concept work for a year and see what happens. Like it's doing it consistently that's going to move you out, move you forward. So that is the reading I have for you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you would like to follow me around the web, please consider checking out my Patreon. That's where I have extra tarot stuff. I do a monthly astrology tarot report. I just put out horoscopes for all the signs with the North Node moving. That video is available on my Patreon right now. And I'm currently working on a vlog. I put like lifestyle content on there too. So if you would like to support me as a small creator, that is the best way to do it. Thank you so much to Tarot Stack for sponsoring today's video. And if you'd like to follow me anywhere else, I'm at Kloee Taylor everywhere. Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads. I would say those are the only platforms I actually kind of use, especially Instagram. I use Instagram a lot. And is there anything else I wanted to say to y'all? I don't think so. I think that was it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I will talk to you again so, so soon. All right, pile number 3, if you chose the grape poppy, this is going to be your reading, but first a word from our sponsor. Tarot Stack has been a long-term supporter of this channel, and I'm so grateful to go into a new year working with them. So Tarot Stack, if you don't know, they are an online tarot retailer where you can get indie decks from basically decks that are made from independent artists that you will not be able to get anywhere else. And some of the decks even have authentication. Like there's so few decks that were printed that you'll get like a certificate of authenticity with some of them. All the decks that you see in today's reading are from there. I will link them down below for you in the order that they appear. And honestly, I love Tarot Stack. Before I ever started working with them, I was purchasing my own decks from them. So like they are somebody that I just really respect. I love that we get to continuously work together. And I noticed that all of their decks, they all are like on really good cardstock. None of them are falling apart. Like I have had decks for years now that get used on a daily basis. None of them are falling apart. They all have really great imagery, really strong like card construction. And again, they're just decks that you're not going to get or see anywhere else. So links for all of that down below. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. I'm so grateful to go into a new year with you. All right, pile number 3, let's take a look-see. So we're going to go ahead and start with this deck. And we're just going to see what is coming out. Oh, all right. Ooh, okay, we got the 6th house. This is exciting. We got the 6th house, the last quarter moon, and the 5th house. Okay, so, oh my goodness. I've got that phrase stuck in my head that's like, blank would fix me. Like, you ever heard that meme where it's like, I don't know, I just feel like a Baja Blast would fix me. Or I just think a date night would fix me, or I just think I don't know, drinking all the water that I'm supposed to would fix me, or therapy would fix me, or that's like just the joke, because it could be anything. It could be like, I don't know, a string cheese would fix me. So the reason I'm laughing is that I heard that when I pulled these first three cards is like, I feel like what's gonna fix you, and I say that with love. I don't mean that seriously because there's inherently nothing wrong with you. But what is gonna lovingly, jokingly fix you is gonna be a routine and paying attention to your health and wellness. I think that there's a lot that people don't realize about how the gut and the mind are linked. I don't think it's like new to science, but it's newer. And like if you're taking care of your body and your vessel, your mind is going to follow. So ultimately, the sixth house, this is about going into like a wellness journey. Now, it doesn't have to be a weight loss journey. You know, a wellness journey is all facets. It's mind, body, spirit. The sixth house is your daily routines. So working on some kind of a daily routine. The fifth house is fun. It's dating. It's flirtation. It's childlike joy. It's wonder. It's Leo's house. Okay. So the fifth house and the sixth house coming out, this is it's Leo and Virgo's houses. And I feel like ultimately it's going to be for you about balancing routine and pleasure, because you do need to have a little bit of a routine. And I don't like, I feel like sometimes online you see like the clean girl routine, and it's freaking overwhelming. It's like, oh, make sure I get my 19-step skincare in, and then make sure I wear only matching pajamas, and I drink 5 gallons of water, and I only eat salad. And, you know, like we see stuff like this portrayed to us constantly. And we think that if we are not living that way, we're not living correctly. When in reality, do you want to hear my routine? My one routine that I currently live by in the morning. We're going to get real personal, okay? I get up, I poop immediately. I am very regular. Extremely regular. It's the first thing I do. I brush my teeth. I tongue scrape, I tongue scrape and then brush my teeth. I take my vitamins every single morning. My vitamins are right next to my toothbrush. Take my vitamins every single morning, which I do take a probiotic, a multivitamin, and I take inositol or inositol. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but it's for PCOS, a vitamin that is like a known helper. And is there anything else? No, those are the vitamins I take in the morning. The only difference is at night I take magnesium and I don't take the probiotic again. So every single morning that's it. Like, you know, if I want to get myself ready for my day, I might put on a pair of comfortable pants, some kind of top, depending on what kind of work I'm doing. If I'm filming for the podcast, I'll get all the way ready. Actually, I'm lying to you. I go and eat breakfast immediately after. That's the next thing I do. I eat a high protein breakfast. First meal of the day is my biggest meal of the day. Biggest meal, it has the most protein, mostly because as my day goes, I know that about myself, that my brain function dwindles as the day goes. I don't have as much energy that I have early in the day. And so I don't want to have to think about, did I get enough protein at dinner time? I want to do that first thing in the morning. So I strive anywhere from 50 to 70 grams of protein in the morning, somewhere in that range. Sometimes in the 40s, but I strive for at least 50 at breakfast minimum. And there's so many ways to get that. You know, I can do a podcast episode on that in the future, but that's my morning routine. And then I go into getting ready and then I roll into work. That's it. There's no, oh, I did all this skincare. I rubbed crystals all over my body. I had to meditate for an hour and a half. Like, I'm not saying any of those things are bad. I'm saying that when it comes to your routine, don't overcomplicate it. Do, like, if you're somebody that doesn't have a routine and it stresses you out, do things that make sense. You know, brush your teeth, take your vitamins, maybe wash your face if you're into that. I take a shower every single day and I wash my face at some point, whether it's in the morning or at night, depends. But like, you don't have to have a 19-step skincare routine. You don't have to be like going out in your garden and picking all of your lettuce leaves yourself. Like, it's not that deep. You can have a simple morning routine and then get on with your day, and that can be enough. Don't let these Instagram baddies fool you into thinking that it has to be only one way, because you're a different person that has different needs. And I bring that up because I do think that your life needs more of that. It needs a little more structure and a little more intention, but it needs to be mixed with doing things that you love and care about. So I feel like this is like a conundrum that you often find yourself in, is it's like, oh, I'm really on my routines, but then you've left no room for yourself. Or you're doing only like sloth behavior. You're doing everything for yourself. You're laying in bed every day. You're not moving your body. You have no semblance of a routine. You're living your best rat life. Okay. I'm not saying that as an insult. I say that to myself, that I'm living like a rat. Okay. You're living your best rat life. And there's no balance here. So this is something that would help, is to get to a place where every day you have room for both. Leave room in your day for living your best rat life. Okay. At the end of your workday, you're allowed to go and lay in your bed and do what you want to do. That can, in fact, I don't know how many of y'all have ADHD, but that's something that I use to my advantage. Having ADHD is I gamify my life, makes my life so much easier. I will literally tell myself, okay, once I finish these tasks, that's my reward, is I can go live my best rat life and go like shower, take all my makeup off if I was filming, and I can go lay in bed and like watch my comfort YouTubers, or, you know, I'll use that as a reward at the end of my day. And it's great. It gives me all the dopamine that I wanted. So live your best rat life. Don't like live your best rat life, but don't sleep on your routines. Last quarter moon, this is, I want to say, wait, I need to not mess this up. So this is either, I can't remember if this is to the full moon or to the new moon. Sorry, I'm looking at the guidebook to see if I can, well, I can't find the page and these cards don't have numbers on them. So I got this distinct impression that it was the last quarter before the new moon, because that's just what I would think of. It would, that, I don't know, it just, that makes sense to me. So last quarter moon, if we are building into a new moon, it means that you're building into a new start. So it's time to start asking yourself what kind of habits you want to implement, and then get the ball rolling when that new moon happens. We actually just had a new moon on December 30th last year, at the end of the year. Our next new moon, gosh, I don't think I have my phone next to me, so I can't tell you when the next new moon is, but there is a new moon coming up. It would be, let me see. I do have a calendar right here that I can kind of look at. So it would be sometime around the 13th of January, if you're listening to this as it's current. Sometime around the 13th, 12th or 13th, we're going to have a new moon. Is that right? That's not right. I'm lying to you. It's closer to like the 27th to the 29th, I believe. Is that right? Ugh, I'm gonna, sorry, I need to grab my phone because I don't want to tell you wrong, and I feel like I'm telling you wrong. And a Virgo midheaven would never. I will always fact check myself. Okay, phases. The next new moon, January 29th. Okay, and it's going to be taking place in the sign of Aquarius, which if you want to know more about that, it's on my Patreon. I did a whole astrology report for the month of January. Definitely check that out if you haven't done so already. But ultimately, the thing to know is, I feel like this new moon is going to be a new moon that you need to start implementing these things. So you have time right now to consider what you want to implement. And I mean, I also believe that like, you don't have to wait for the appropriate time to do anything. You can start today if that feels right for you. Like all of my New Year's resolutions, I started on December 26th because I don't believe in waiting. I don't believe in saying, oh, okay, I'm going to do everything correctly on this day. You know, I think that it's whenever you feel like having a new start, that could be today. It could be right now. You don't have to wait. Okay, let's see. We have the Nine of Swords. Bestie, what has got you feeling so in your feelings? What is going on here? Let me actually push these up a little bit. What is going on? What has got you so down bad? Ace of Wands. Judgment. Okay, I see. Queen of Wands. And the Two of Pentacles. So Two of Pentacles, pile number 1 also had the Two of Pentacles. You might want to give that one a listen. But Nine of Swords, this is giving anxious energy. And I think in order to get back to like feeling like your best self, it's like before you even start, you're already judging yourself. You're already telling yourself all the reasons you can't do it. You're already telling yourself why it won't work, why you can't have that thing, why you can't be that kind of person. And the thing is, you can. You absolutely can. And it's your judgment of yourself and maybe your past experiences that are holding you back, but you do not have to define yourself as a version of your past. You can define yourself by a version of your future. And I want to say that's actually a line coined from Dr. Joe Dispenza, I think says that you can define yourself by a version of your future self. Like you don't have to define yourself from the past, which I know a lot of us do. And the past is valuable, but the past is still in the past no matter which way you swing it. So I do think that there's a little bit of anxiety about like not wanting to start a new thing or not wanting to, like you're feeling caught between a rock and a hard place. And ultimately it's letting go of the judgment and just deciding to try that's going to give you your confidence. You're not like, bestie, if you're waiting for yourself to be confident enough to start, no, that's not how things work. I mean, I'm not saying that it will never happen. Like sometimes you do get a struck of motivation, you get a strike of motivation and suddenly things feel some type of way. But the thing is, motivation, yes, we can get it that way at times, but it never lasts. Real motivation that is lasting, you create it. You're the person that has to create the momentum, and it's the momentum that will continue to motivate you. So this is why, like, when you start working out in the beginning, it might be hard or you might feel a little motivated, but it's in realizing that you went every single week for 3 months that you're going to be like, damn, I don't want to lose my streak on that. That's going to create the momentum and the motivation. So you need to find ways to create motivation. And I feel like I am the queen of this because, again, ADHD, I have to gamify my whole life for my brain to work properly. Anybody with ADHD gets it. But ways that you can gamify your life. Oh, I don't have my notebook in here and I really wish I did. If you watch my last podcast episode that went up on Sunday, it's episode 187. They're not numbered on YouTube, but they're numbered on Spotify. It's the one that I did about like the new year, like ins and outs for the new year. I actually showed you in that episode, I showed you this like tracker sheet from my notebook that I use. I love tracker sheets. I feel like they are something that keep me so consistent and so motivated because I see myself fill it in every day and it gets me going. It gets me motivated. So doing something like that, having a ticker that counts up on your phone the days that you stayed consistent with your routine or even stayed consistent with like your self-pleasure, with doing things that you enjoy. That's like, keep track of those things because it's going to create motivation. And that's how you're going to get confident is by having consistency. And then the Two of Pentacles showing up here, again, I think this might mean that you're linked to pile number 1, but I also think this is about finding the balance, as I've already been saying to you, between the 5th and 6th house, the balance between finding your joy, finding the things that you love and doing those things, but also making sure that you have structure. Because, and I don't know, like I said, maybe some of y'all have ADHD. I'm not trying to diagnose anyone, but I do feel like that is like an ADHD person's biggest conundrum is trying to like live in chaos because we kind of thrive in it a little bit, but recognizing that chaos doesn't actually move the needle forward and we have to have both. We have to have chaos and structure. And so I feel like that's almost what we're given here. It's like creative, chaotic energy versus having this routine, structured, methodical energy. And when you learn how to master both and give yourself them in tandem, that's where you're really going to thrive and have so much more confidence over your life. So balance is really key here. And that is what I have for you, pile number 3. So thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to support me as a creator, please do consider checking out my Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to, I want to say we're at like almost 500 posts. When you join, you unlock all of them. I put out new content every single month on Patreon. I couldn't tell you, I don't think since I've started my Patreon in 2021, I'm not exactly sure the year that we started. I'd have to look, but I have put something out every single month, multiple things every single month. Patreon always eats, always, always, always. So if you want to support me and get a bunch of extra content, including the astrology and tarot report, I just put out horoscopes over there for 2025 for the North and South Node for all signs. If you want to go watch that, all available on my Patreon. And if you want to follow me anywhere else around the web, I am at Kloee Taylor everywhere. Blue Sky, Instagram. I almost said TikTok, but I'm not really like, in lieu that it might be banned, I'm just not really feeling like I want to build another platform. So Instagram to me is like really where I like to be, but Threads, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can also follow me. I have a Twitch. I have a Pinterest. We have a Discord. There are so many things. Check out the description box. There's things like I forget to mention because we have so many things in this community that you can be a part of. And I would love to have you there. So anyways, love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do not forget, when you stand in your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I will talk to you next time. Bye. All right, pile number 4, if you chose the orange cream poppy, this is going to be your reading. But first, a word from our sponsors. Tarot Stack has been a long-term supporter of this channel, and I'm so grateful to go into a new year working with them. So Tarot Stack, if you don't know, they are an online tarot retailer where you can get indie decks from, basically decks that are made from independent artists that you will not be able to get anywhere else. And some of the decks even have authentication. Like, there's so few decks that were printed that you'll get like a certificate of authenticity with some of them. All the decks that you see in today's reading are from there. I will link them down below for you in the order that they appear. And honestly, I love Tarot Stack. Before I ever started working with them, I was purchasing my own decks from them. So like, they are somebody that I just really respect. I love that we get to continuously work together. And I noticed that all of their decks, they all are like on really good cardstock. None of them are falling apart. Like, I have had decks for years now that get used on a daily basis. None of them are falling apart. They all have really great imagery, really strong like card construction. And again, they're just decks that you're not going to get or see anywhere else. So links for all of that down below. And thank you so much, Tarot Stack. I'm so grateful to go into a new year with you. All right, pile number 4, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's see what we get here. First, we're going to start with some of these astrology cards, and then we'll get into the other deck that I have. So what is going on? What is going to bring you back to yourself? Libra. Okay, love to see it. So it could literally be a Libra person that you know, but we'll talk more about that if it's not a person. Stellium. Literally could be somebody with a Libra stellium. And Taurus. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, you know what's funny? I'm a Sagittarius rising, and as a Sag rising, I'm also a Taurus sun, so maybe think about it. My 11th house of friendship actually is in Libra. So like, I find that like a lot of times the people that not everyone, but a lot of the people that I get the closest to tend to have big Libra placements, which is funny because I wouldn't even say that I like seek Libras out. I always say that like, I'm always looking for Cancers. I love Cancers. They're one of my favorite signs. Cancers, Geminis. I love Taurus women specifically. Nothing against y'all Taurus men, but I've had so many Taurus men just do me dirty in my life. Even though I was raised by a Taurus man that is pretty awesome, I've been burned a lot by Taurus men. The Taurus men have been terrible to me. Y'all are making our sign look bad. Stop it. Be the change. Be the change. If you're a Taurus man listening to this, be the change that we want to see in the world. Be the change, and don't let these other Taurus men spit on your good name. Okay, being a Taurus is such a privilege. Anyways, Sorry, getting carried away. For your reading, with Libra, the thing to know is that Libra is our sign of balance, right? Its symbol is the balance scale. And so it is about bringing more balance to your life. And Taurus, this is about financial stability, getting more stable, more grounded with yourself. And also, I would say like indulging a little bit. Taurus is a very indulgent sign that really likes like the finer things in life. So the reason I think the stellium card is coming out, or stellium, everybody pronounces it differently. The reason that this is coming out is, to me, is to amplify these two energies. And something I need you to know about Libra and Taurus is that they are both ruled by the planet Venus. Venus is the planet of, I hate to say love because it feels silly. Venus is so much more than just love, but it's like beauty, aesthetics, love, things that we really, really care about, like deeply at our core. And so, being Venetian, I do think there is something on a very surface and superficial level. There is something to be said about like, bestie, you just need to be getting yourself ready every day. And I'm not saying you need to wear like clothes with all the uncomfortable seams that you don't want to wear. Like, I get it, okay? As an overstimulated girly sometimes, that's not the vibe. We love working from home. We love our sweatpant moment. But I'm not saying like you need to get dressed up and wear uncomfortable clothes. First of all, get comfortable clothes. Get things that make you feel good, that are comfortable. A matching set is still getting dressed. Like wearing a sweatshirt and like sweatpants, when they match, it's still a vibe. You can dress that up and look hot as hell in a pair of sweats, okay? My point is that like me and my bestie, we call this being in our pretty girl era. Where we like strive for like matching pajama sets. If I love pajamas and I want to wear my pajamas all day because I have that God-given right and a privilege as I do work from home, like that's fine, but I don't want to wear my ratty t-shirt and my old ass sweatpants every day. I'll put on like a nice matching set of pajamas and do my work. I just think it makes a difference when you feel good on the inside. And it doesn't mean putting a full beat of makeup on every day if you're somebody that wears makeup, unless you like doing that. It could just be doing like mascara, eyebrows, and like fixing your hair. It doesn't have to be doing your hair completely, but just like if you got a fringe or you've got bangs, do the fringe and the bangs and like pin the rest up. You know, you don't have to make it complicated. Getting ready can be very simple. It doesn't have to be over the top. Unless you're somebody that loves doing that, then like do the whole 9 yards. But my point is that Taurus and Libra are going to be about beauty and aesthetics. And I do think that like you feel better when you take better care of yourself. And it's not about like dressing for the male gaze. It's dressing for yourself, putting yourself together for yourself. I literally just told, I think that was pal number 3, that like your daily routine doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be this 19-step skincare routine, blow drying your hair every day. It doesn't have to look like that. You can look incredible for yourself doing minimal effort, okay? And I think Taurus is a really good representation of that, because at the end of the day, I can say this because I am a Taurus. We're gluttonous and we are a little bit lazy. We're not like, I think the thing that people misunderstand about Taurus though is when we want to be lazy, we are lazy. But when we want to move, Taurus will get up and move heaven and earth. Like, it's not that we are not able to do things, it's that we're going to do it on our own time. And I think that's also why I'm self-employed, because nobody's going to tell Kloee Taylor what to do. But with these two, I do think there's something about getting ready every day, getting yourself ready, taking care of like your beauty practices, doing things that make you feel good. And it like you feel better. You feel better when you get your hair trimmed every once in a while. You feel better. I don't care what anybody says. Like, you feel better when you get up and brush your teeth in the morning. You feel better when you're showered and your hygiene feels good. You feel better when you put yourself together. Like today, bestie, I'm wearing a pair of leggings. I have a hoodie on that you can see part of. I have a hoodie on that's got Tiffany from Chucky on it because my husband gifted it to me for Christmas because I love Tiffany. Jennifer Tilly is just such a queen, and such a gay icon. Okay, don't care what anybody says. She's a gay icon. I love her. She's for everyone. And then I'm wearing one of those like these headbands that you're not supposed to wear in public. It's like the get ready headband. I love this headband so much I want to buy a backup because it's my favorite one that I own. I'm wearing my headband and I have my hair in like a claw clip, but I still got up, put myself together, put my eyebrows on, put mascara on, fixed my hair into a claw clip, even though I'm using a headband that I wouldn't wear out of the house. Like I didn't just like roll out of bed and then come sit in my office chair. That makes me feel stressed, you know? So like, my point is, it doesn't have to be a ton of effort. It can be if that's what you think you want to be doing. But for those of you that are like, that's too much, don't make it too much. Make it easy on yourself, okay? But if it's not beauty and aesthetic, I also think that it can just be about bringing more beauty into your life. So like making your spaces feel that way. If you work in an office cubicle, decorate your cubicle. Put some things up in your cubicle that are for you. Don't just sit in that boring gray box. Excuse me. Making parts of your home feel beautiful. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg to do this either. Thrift stores are your friend. I have thrifted many of the things in my apartment and in my last house. Thrifting is awesome. We love a good thrift find. But ultimately, I do think this comes down to like making things more pleasing to your eyes and doing this in a way that will actually make you just feel better. I know it might seem superficial, the things that I'm saying, but I promise it's not. Anybody that tells you that they don't feel better after getting a little haircut, unless the hairdresser like really messed you up, which I've had that happen once in my life, and I did cry, and I did wear wigs. Yes, I was that vain. I wore a wig for like, I don't know how many months, because I used to live stream on Twitch a lot, and I would wear wigs because I was self-conscious about my hair. Because some girl really botched my hair. But you know, I feel like if the hairdresser did what you asked and it came out, like it does feel better to do those little beauty treatments, to do those maintenance tasks for yourself. So let's go ahead and see what else. All right, we have strength. So that's Leo's card. Leo is also about their physical appearance. Ooh, the Queen of Wands, confidence. Six of Cups. Okay. This is the 9. Sorry, I had to think about it. 9 of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Lots of wand energy. So what this tells me is I do think that in order to feel more confident, you need to start dressing and acting like somebody who is more confident. If every day you're just getting up, like I said, and like walking over to your work from home office or your desk, if you work from home, like I'm just giving you an example, this might not be you, but if you just go over there in your PJs and like barely get a little like bite to eat in your mouth before you have to boot up your computer for work, this is a clear indicator that you're not taking good care of yourself, in my opinion, because giving yourself an extra 30-45 minutes in the morning just to like do some nice self-care, it makes all the difference in your day. And I do think that there's an outdated version of you walking around, because the Six of Cups in your reading, I'm really getting the vibe that it's not another person. This is like an ideology from the past resurfacing, of thing that you keep replaying. This is a version of you that you're always disappointed. Like you're not happy with where you are right now. And the thing is, this is why you don't feel like yourself, because you're not doing things that would make you feel like yourself. Ask yourself what your best self would do. How would you want to dress as your best self? Now, I'm not saying go out and buy yourself a bunch of new clothes. Unless you got money like that, then go for it. You know, new clothes, I think, also really changed the game for everyone. But if you're on a budget, you know, you're a baller on a budget, just ask yourself how, with like the things that you have, how would your best self treat you? If you were going to show up as your best self today, right now, what is the next best choice that you could make? Because you're running around on autopilot like a past version of yourself, and it's depleting your confidence. And to build new confidence, you have to decide to do something different. You have to act in ways that you've never acted before. And I say that because with the Nine of Wands, that's how it's a build. You have to gain momentum within it and build it. Confidence isn't something that just happens naturally. Everybody also has the ability to have it. It's not just made for specific people. I will say some people might have an advantage because they were raised to be more confident, but you are still able to tap into that same energy. You're just going to have to work at it a little bit. And then the Knight of Wands, I also think that you're ready. You're ready for this transformation. This is like, wands are very fast-paced energy. This isn't something that's going to take months and months and months. Like the internal confidence might, but the external, working on your own beauty regimens, if you actually do that and like start taking care of your personal hygiene more, it's going to make you feel better. Ultimately, you're going to feel more like your best self, and it's going to feed into that confidence. And I feel like there really is only one major message here for you within that. I mean, I could see maybe with these wand cards getting more in touch with like your big ideas, your creativity, making something new. I don't know what it is that you like to do in your spare time, but like, if you're someone that creates, trying something you've never tried before, I think as an example, as a YouTuber, okay, as a YouTuber, my bread and butter for years has been, okay, sit down, set up the pick a card, set the camera up this way, color grade the video this way, do it like this. And I got really, really good at that. Okay, I feel like I mastered it. And the thing is, the moment you hit mastery is like the moment you have to pivot. So it's changing something, changing the way your thumbnails look, changing the way the video look, changing the camera angle, changing the camera quality. For me, I've started pivoting more into my podcast as like a completely different turn of events that's not just doing this every single week, and it does take a little bit of bravery to decide to do that. But I do think if you're somebody that's like into creation, know that like it's going to be a continuous game of pivoting forever. Like the minute you think you have it all figured out, you're going to have to switch up what you're doing. And this is your sign that it's time to switch things up a little bit. Things are feeling stagnant, I feel like, in your life. And that's why, is it's time to switch some things up. So that is ultimately the reading that I have for you. I feel like your reading was relatively, it felt shorter. I don't know why. Maybe not. Maybe not. I do feel like this reading as a whole, like today's readings were a little bit shorter, probably because I just used less decks. But in any case, thank you so much, Tarot Stack, for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to support me as a content creator, please consider also joining my Patreon, where you get access to, I want to say we're almost at like 500 posts that you get instant access to all of them. There's extra pick-a cards there. There's a monthly tarot and astro report every single month. It's already out for January. I just put out a horoscopes video for all signs, the North and South node that's moving in January this month. It's going to be happening actually in just a few days, but it's a horoscope that will take you through the next 18 months for all of the signs. So if you want to see that, check it out. It's on my Patreon, patreon.com/KhloeTaylor. And if you want to follow me around the web, I am at Kloee Taylor on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. I also have like a Twitch. We have a Discord, all the things. Check out the description box if you want more information on all of that. And thank you so, 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 so much for tuning in. I love and appreciate you. Please do not forget, when you stand on your own authenticity, you empower everyone around you to do the same. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.